Low levels of silicon found. Ooh, a geothermal vent.
Well,
That will be
not a whole lot being revealed right off the bat. Just a geotherm, like a small patch of water, a little silicon and carbon. Nothing too attractive that either player has found. Indecision finding the first real upgrade resources in just a small patch of aluminum in the southeast and then another to the northwest.
Right now, each player actually scouting in the same direction.
Colony founded.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Indecision going down as a scientific. I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm not feeling so good about
levels
this.
of water found.
Just because of the reason that there's no really good water cluster. Where you can get all the adjacent bonuses. So
It's a fair point that maybe there's not really good clusters on this map, but I don't see really any good anything on this map at the end of the day. So, I don't know. Like, scientific, yeah, okay, he's not going to have his nice water clusters. He's not going to have his nice silicon triangles, things like that. But if he were expansive, he wouldn't have a lot of iron. As a scavenger, Phreak's not getting great carbon income. And as a robotic, you kind of run into the same situation of the expansive with not enough iron on the map. And so it's just an awkward map to play out overall, no matter which colony you were going to found as.
for me right now, I think 1 or 2 nukes and the game is done for Phreak. If Indecision decides to actually spend that money on nukes, I think, Phreak could be done.
Yeah, 1 nuke at this point would half Phreak's carbon production. Another one, cut it down to just 0.25 carbon a second. Phreak is going to be relying, quite likely, on a little bit of carbon being added to this map just to be able to stay in the game. So I really like Indecision's position now that both players have landed. And we can see that nobody is really in a good spot this game. Those pirates, though, this is big.
Ooh. Yeah, for sure. Like, if Phreak, gets these pirates, this steel production might be in a little bit of jeopardy. Like, that's a lot of money to be made right there.
For sure. One great thing I want to point out, Indecision got his steel to his base in time to get to level 2 before the pirate auction even had a chance to come out. So even if he wasn't able to defend himself from these pirates immediately, he had already hit level 2, and at least he would be able to get some valuable claims distributed around the map before they caused too many problems.
Also, 18,000 for pirates.
Very
that
expensive.
Is insane. That's an insane price. But as you said, he's level 2. He has the claims. He can catch up on that debt.
I hate those filthy
like right now for Phreak. Oh wow, actually using pirates for carbon.
Carbon and aluminum. And aluminum.
Oh, also?
Yep.
That's in the path? Oh yeah.
It's going to be getting both of them. So that's 2/3 of Phreak's production basically cut off from his base. Just a 50-50 coin flip each time those resources try and come on through.
Right now, Indecision, I'm going to say, he's level 2. He's in the lead. Phreak right now, as I said, that nuke might be coming. Phreak.
Wow.
Probably heard my thoughts and actually spent a goon squad. Like 4,000 for a goon squad.
I don't think he could afford that. I don't think he could afford that.
Wow, you are so right. He is dev hacking. How did you know?
Well, no, here's my thing. It's like he's got some silicon coming in, some carbon coming in, some aluminum coming in, getting like 4 resources a second total. And between them, we're talking like $20 of value each when it's averaged all out. And it's just like he had to sell off a bunch of his glass, rebuy that at a more expensive price. He's having to sell carbon to make all of this happen. He's just having to sell so much and delay his upgrades so much just to protect his one little tiny carbon tile. I don't know if that was going to be worth it. It's still only 2 carbon a second.
As I said, I'm not really seeing it. I think in game 1, it was pretty much just a map win. I'd say in the end, it was a map win for Indecision. I think this is a repeat of game 1, where this is literally also just a map win. Because there's no resources at all, as you said. The only thing that you could go is expansive or scientific with the iron on this map, and there's not much iron that you could go into anything else. So I think Scavenger was the only real thing to do right here, and I think that's starting to hurt very, very slowly, because Indecision actually Are you guys reactors up? What is actually making there? You got 2 solar panels. Actually got power money flowing in right now at 500 a second.
Huge power short. Gonna work
Wow,
very heavily
this
in Indecision's favor, potentially, if he can keep Phreak's power shut down. Thankfully for Phreak, he has pushed to level 2 at this point, and that's huge. He's got a geotherm secured. He is going to be building a wind turbine. He might still be in this one, but I think it's going to be a bit of a slog.
Wow, this game, I don't know. Whoever wins this auction right now will have a favor with, with water. First of all, it's a 3-stack, and you're going to buy it for debt. So I think that's a small edge. Details. But Indecision actually getting this. So as I said, the detail of getting this. Oh man, I'm just Indecision right now. His stock price might be dropping, but he already won 2 auctions.
I like this move from Phreak, though, I have to say. I think it was the right play to let that auction go. And the reason is Indecision now has a lot of tiles committed exclusively to paying off debt. And his debt is so high, that's not coming anytime soon. Phreak, on the other hand, his debt is so tiny that once his power is online, it will be actively making him money, and he will make far better use of that cash in hand than Indecision will of just maybe raising his stock price bit by bit as the game continues.
Also, I want to say, Phreak actually getting the 2nd carbon tile on the map, that 2-stack. I think that should have been about like his, I'd say like his 2nd tile to claim. Like, for surely he got the silicon so early on. I didn't really agree with that. So I think he should have shouldn't have gotten that silicon. He should have more went into this carbon tile next Indecision. So I think that carbon tile getting claimed a little bit too late.
He's definitely making it work, though. Although one thing I need to point out, an underground nuke on that medium carbon tile actually still more effective than an underground nuke on the high carbon tile, and Phreak hasn't bothered to defend that at this point. So I would love to see Indecision go ahead and throw a nuke that direction and just knock out a huge chunk of Phreak's income.
Ooh, Phreak actually buying another Goon Squad. Actually Goon Squadding his geothermal that he's building right now. As you said, he actually paid off his debt, so he actually can move straight into money. And wow, this is really huge for Phreak.
Definitely very interesting. Now, Indecision has been paying off his debt so fast this whole time with the power, though. We saw he was close to about 50,000. It's now down to 15. So it's possible he was just able to power through this so fast based off of this power income that he's going to pull it out anyway. We can see he even scrapped his steel mills and moved them into wind turbines. So he's been making huge amounts of money on this. He is about to clean up all of his debt and start making money of his own based on this power. And I think he found the right path to staying in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Like the power plays are real. Like couldn't have done it better at all. Like power is still high at 102. Like of course dropping, but he's still gonna make a little bit money out of this. And right now this auction this auction for acclaim. There you go.
Hugely valuable.
Actually wow. 12,000 going to Phreak. I think that could have been like a $16,000 claim because everybody has power. Power is still a little bit valuable. He still could have chipped away on that debt. I think,
Yeah, I think that went a bit cheap, potentially. I agree.
Yeah. Like, this game so far, very interesting. Like, again, as I said before, it might have been a map win, but this is more and more looking like a legitimate game.
Definitely. Now, I am a bit concerned. Both players actually moving into food. Phreak in particular, I do not think this was a great move on his part. He's only generating 0.1 food a second once you take out the 0.4 he's consuming. So this is making him a nice, clean $9 a second potentially off this food tile, assuming it wasn't costing him power and water even. Whereas Indecision, he's actually gotten rid of his food production and just moved straight into reactors. And I think the right move at this point is for somebody to try and make their way into glass instead of food.
The problem is right now with glass that there's only 5. Whoa. Sorry. Wait, how many are there? 5, 6 silicon tiles, and you know each player actually owns the 2 in the middle. So,
Yeah.
I like
But
right now
silicon's
glass.
so cheap and glass is so expensive that it's a bit awkward, but it's just there's so much money to be made.
Yeah, well, definitely. Like maybe, Indecision should later on sell off, like scrap his solar panels and maybe make glass, like just slap on glass on there, and just out of supply everything. I think that would be a good choice later on.
Yeah.
If the prices stay like this and power just drops, like for sure. Like
Man, those
I
aluminum
wouldn't see a
tiles
problem with that.
are just going to be so beautiful in a moment here. $86 aluminum right now this game. That's making Phreak so much money, and Indecision's just letting him have it, not having moved out of his solar panels yet.
Oh wow. Yeah, right now Phreak, definitely also having that edge. Both players have 0 debt. Indecision actually has a little bit more money. And he has 4. I repeat, 4 stocks himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
think
Phreak actually
Indecision-
sold out of Indecision's stock as well, just to push himself to that level 3 upgrade.
Yeah, I think right now Indecision is kind of had. Ooh, carbon scrubbing. This is interesting. This is an interesting one.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's no robotic in this game, right? So maybe it's not necessary. Wow, Phreak just going to let that one sail right on by for 5,000. He must be feeling a bit nervous about this game, not to be pressing that auction a bit higher even. That does not seem very Phreak to me from what I've seen out of his games, but
Yeah, like I don't know. He seems like he's, as you said, kind of nervous, maybe a little bit desperate. Doesn't know where he's standing right now. Doesn't know what to think, because Indecision does have 4, stock in himself, and that's already huge. Like at his stock value right now, that is a big commitment right there. So, Indecision, of course, actually, what is he moving in? Like, actually making iron mines. Okay. Ooh, and a steel mill. So.
yeah, 1 iron mine, a couple steel mills established. I'm okay with that. Iron's worth quite a nice amount of money at the moment. So that could work out well for him. And getting a couple aluminum mines up as well. However, those are going to get EMP'd out quickly, but not for too long. Scientific players can kind of just shrug those off.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Scientific kind of counter Scavenger a little bit, because Scientific with, of course, the bonus of the black market being kind of nerfed, kind of hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Definitely a good play by Phreak, but also kind of countered again by Indecision's class. Colony. Sorry.
Yeah, well, and another thing to go along with that, we can see that the scientific player Indecision is naturally just spreading out his buildings to get advantage off of his other bonus from being a scientific player, being able to just rip those resources straight out of the ground and put them into his production buildings directly. So his buildings naturally spread out, naturally black market resistant. You can tell Phreak is having a hard time using his black market advantage this game.
Actually, this is really bad for Phreak. There's a glass surplus while he just made 3 glass furnaces.
Yeah. You have to wonder how much glass is sitting in Indecision's furnace right now that maybe is just constantly losing value through all this. But I think you are right that it's gonna hit Phreak harder.
Yeah, like, I mean, 3 tiles to, glass furnaces, that is definitely a commitment of some sorts. Actually, moving into chemicals, I actually like this move, because fuel right now, not too expensive. He has the carbon to do it. So right now, chemicals, I don't see a problem with that.
Ooh, carbon tile. That's
Ooh.
interesting. That's potentially very valuable depending on certain things in this game, but especially my concern about the chemicals right now is Phreak still has another upgrade to go that he might need access to this game, and he's going to be burning almost half of his carbon income just on these chems if he finishes up the triangle. So that's just going to make it harder and harder and harder, and while fuel is very cheap, carbon is most certainly not. And it's a bit of a risky move instead of just going for something very simple and straightforward like food production.
Actually, Phreak going through this, I don't quite agree with this, because of the reason, like, Indecision, he has carbon scrubbing, so it doesn't really matter if he gets it or not. But like, actually spending 14,000 on like a 1 stack of 1 carbon, that I don't.
Finally, the nuke.
Whoa, where?
Finally, the nuke comes down on the carbon, but I think that's way too late. That could have happened 3 days ago. No problem
that could have
whatsoever.
happened a while ago. But now
black
again,
market is
the
on
tile
fire, being
that
bought.
Phreak just purchased for 14,000 finally like pays off.
Yeah.
That's black magic right there. And also Indecision buying out Phreak. He already has 5 stocks in him. So right now, I don't know. I think Phreak right now is actually switching around a little bit too much. What do you think? Because he went into chemicals, now he's building something else?
Yeah, I think potentially a little too much dancing coming out from Phreak, whereas Indecision this whole time has just been focused on, no, I'm good at level 3. I'm just going to start taking your stock. And that could work out very well for him with a power surge.
Yeah,
onto
the
some of
power
Phreak's
surge
very
coming
nice
out.
buildings.
Yeah, the power surge coming out from Indecision right now. That is, I don't know, I would say super effective currently because this is pretty much his lifeline because like food is not very cheap.
Yeah,
and
it hits the
also
food
he's
so
going to
hard.
need O2 for those glass furnaces and Indecision going out of aluminum and going back and actually going into power again. So I think that's a good play.
Yeah, one very questionable play from Phreak right now, I think, is his decision not to sell power. He's at a 3 power surplus. Power is $150 each. And when you're in a position of dominance, not selling power can be a fantastic play. Drive your opponent into debt, finish up buying up that stock. But when you're in a position where you are losing, it is just potentially a fast track to death.
I
Indecision's
think
going for
it. Ooh, Indecision at 100%. Ooh, GG Indecision. Indecision. Wow, I can't talk English anymore. Go ahead.
You've had a
it
very
away.
long day. Very well
I
played
have.
game to Indecision, in my opinion. Phreak with potentially some missteps along the way, having to transition far too often. I do not like the decision to not sell power at the end of the game. And I do not really like the Goon Squad initially on the carbon at the beginning of the game. I think
That
it
was
slowed
way
him
too
down
early.
too much. I think it was way too
Way
early.
too early.
And on top of that, you only lose 1 carbon a second when your high carbon gets nuked. The only reason to protect that early is if he had a very specific plan for slant drilling, which he never even made any moves toward this game. So I don't think that was the right call, and I think it slowed him down too much this game.
Oh wow. So pretty much resources spent. I'm gonna say Indecision kind of bought a lot of glass, but still he only had 1 glass furnace working, so it's like whatever moment right there. But definitely Phreak actually selling 47,000 glass. That's actually huge. Also selling a lot in God, I swear, Europeans. Aluminum, same thing.
Aluminium is fine. If you got to go with
Yeah.
aluminium, just let it happen.
Yeah, so pretty much, I don't know. I don't really see it. It's like Phreak made just so much more money. I don't really see how Indecision won this. Just through power early on.
Well, power was pretty big in the early power plays for Indecision. That made a big difference in what he was able to do with auctions. But Indecision did make a total of $150-ish thousand that game. Phreak only sitting on about 90,000 made. On top of that, if we kick on over to the black market, I expect we're going to see Phreak spending $76,000 on a black market that we were talking about. He was going to have a hard time making work for him, whereas Indecision only spent $12,000. So that's another $50,000 swing in Indecision's favor, and I think that made a huge difference, all things considered.
Definitely more clear now, for sure. I mean, but you also need to say, Indecision actually auto-purchased quite a lot of power. Like, he sold 93,000, but he auto-purchased 60,000 in power. He actually went out of power for a certain period of time where he actually scrapped away his solar panels and wind turbines. So I think that was a slight misplay, but he still won a game. GG, well played. On to the next round against PB.
Well, I liked Indecision's decision to move out of power, and the big reason is that Phreak very clearly showed he was not in a position to push for the victory. He didn't have the money. He was actually selling Indecision's stock just to stay in the game. That's a good indication to Indecision. I can let my debt run a little bit and focus on making money to make my push before Phreak actually gets himself established off these upgrades and these transitions he's needing to do. So I think that's where most of the auto purchasing of power came from. He hit the market when it peaked at its absolute highest. He got out of it when it was at its lowest, and he just let it run, not really affecting his gameplay for the rest of the game after that.
All right, awesome, for sure. And yeah, I think, yeah, as you said, the game was kind of won just through, I think, the black market, because Phreak bought so much off the black market, and then, again, indecision,
Just
like, only
took it.
Yeah.
Scientific player, no more than 2 or 3 tiles at any given spot. Phreak just couldn't make it work that game.
Yep, indeed. That was a really good play by him. As I said, moving on to the next round versus PB, good luck to him. He's probably not going to win.
Oh, that's mean to say. But yeah, I do have a bit of concern. Indecision and Phreak, both of them not showing much willingness to use the hacker array, and that's what we have seen people like PB and Zap ride to victory in some of these games. So I'm very concerned about how that's going to go when Indecision runs up against PB in the next round.